All right, my fellow travelers, it is time to once again rest our weary bones. God, it feels like we've been traveling for days now. We pretty much have.
Oi, Doctor, do you mind fetching the water?
Sure, no problem. I'll be back shortly.
See you then, mate.
Greetings, fellow travelers. I'm the C dot that knows a lot, Dr. Waluigi. One of the few book series that I sadly never got to read as a kid was The Borrowers. I was able to read the last book in the franchise, but other than that, I only know the series through its many incarnations on film. With that being said, I do want to look back on the movie adaptation that I remember seeing most as a kid. This is the 1997 adaptation of The Borrowers. The Borrowers was created by British children's author Mary Norton, a series about little people living inside the walls and floors of a house. There are currently 5 books in the series as well as 6 adaptations of the books. While this series is not as well recognized as Harry Potter, the series did inspire a lot for young readers in Britain and a few over in Canada. The movie follows the Clock family as they live in a house owned by the Lender family, the younger children of which start to get to know one another until an evil lawyer claims ownership of the house to tear it down in order to make way for apartments. It's up to the families to try and save their house from the corrupt lawyer. So while this film is unoriginal in terms of a script, I mean, let's face it, every kids movie in the 90s was doing this. It did come out with having a few good special effects that are still impressive for the time period. One of the more interesting things about this movie is its cast. The movie has some of the best British cast members, from Hugh Laurie to a young Tom Felton in his first movie role. But then you get some more odd casting choices, like John Goodman as the villain, and having the Lender family all be casted by American actors when the story clearly takes place in Britain. The major positives from this movie are its special effects and casting. I love how even though this movie is 23 years old, the effects look polished and have amazing sets. While some of the green screen might be dated, I had no problem looking past it and enjoying the film. The cast is also great, with John Goodman being a funny villain, the Clock family having several people going to play a character in Harry Potter, such as Tom Felton moving on to playing Draco Malfoy. Unfortunately, there are 3 major problems with the movie. Number 1, they speed through the first act. In all movies, you have to introduce your characters within the first third of the movie. This movie only gives us 3 major character introductions: the Clocks, the young boy who finds them, and the villain. This wouldn't be so bad if any of the other characters mattered. Which brings me to point number 2, the wasted actors. We had such big names as Hugh Laurie as a cop, and he was only in the movie for 10 minutes. It's Hugh Laurie. You don't waste Hugh Laurie. It isn't just him, though. The kid who finds the borrowers and his parents are barely in the movie as well. Why have all of these characters if you're not going to use them? And finally, we may have what may be one of the biggest problems with the movie: the time it came out. Now, this isn't the movie's fault as an adaptation, however, the movie is a clear combination of 2 other movies, Home Alone and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And while I love both those movies, I would rather watch an actual adaptation of The Borrowers rather than a combo movie. In conclusion, while many critics have praised this movie for its special effects and slapstick humor, I feel that this makes the film more like a cheap knockoff of other more popular movies that came out around the time. I don't know how close this movie is to the books, but in my opinion, if you want to see a more faithful adaptation, check out the BBC miniseries or the adaptation done by Studio Ghibli. As for this film, I have to give it a 5 out of 10. It's not bad, but if it had come out at a different time, it probably would have been better. Well, that's all for this episode. Hope everyone had a great Easter, and remember, don't judge a book by its cover, because you'll never know what you find inside. Good night, everyone. Sorry about the long wait. The lake water took some time to get.
That's alright, mate. We know how important it is for reviews to come out on time.
Well, thanks anyway. Wait, how did you know I was doing a review?
What's a review?
You just asked me what. Never mind.
Suit yourself. Good night, mates.
Good night. Yeah, good night.
Wind blowing through my hair, everybody telling me there's no